The lone ship that wouldn't back down. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. A massive alien fleet, 800 warships strong, entered the edge of neutral space. Their ships were large, glowing with red power cores and covered in heavy weapons. Their goal was simple: pass through the neutral zone, reach the last human outpost, and crush it. No one expected a fight. Humanity was weak now, they believed. Broken after centuries of silence. Their fleets were gone, their colonies scattered. The galaxy no longer feared Earth. That was about to change. As the alien fleet moved forward, their scanners picked up something strange. A signal pulsing from a nearby system. A human ship. Just one. It stood still, floating like a rock in space. No movement, no comms, no retreat. At first, the alien commanders laughed. One Terran ship against 800, one captain said. Is this a joke? Another replied. Maybe it's a trap. They ran scans, no traps, no fleet hidden behind moons. Just one old Terran warship, black and silent. Still, it stayed in their way. The alien fleet sent a message. Identify yourself. You are blocking a military route. Move, or be destroyed. No reply. The human ship didn't even blink. Minutes passed. Then the Terran ship powered up. Not weapons, not engines. Something else. Something old. Energy spiked in strange patterns. Patterns the alien computers didn't recognize. Strange symbols glowed on the hull. The ship was alive, but different. Then came a second message from the human ship, but not a voice, a file. It was an old war record. One by one, the alien commanders opened it. It showed a Terran ship, just like the one now in front of them, destroying 42 enemy ships in less than 2 minutes. No missiles, no lasers, just light and silence, and wreckage. A chill spread through the fleet. Some remembered stories. Stories of Terran captains who didn't run, who didn't speak much, but who made whole fleets disappear. Still, the lead admiral of the alien force gave the order. Prepare weapons. Clear the path. We don't have time for ghosts. The fleet moved into formation. Cannons charged, missiles armed. Still, the Terran ship did nothing. No shield raised, no drone launched, only silence. One alien officer whispered, "Why isn't it firing?" Another said, "Why isn't it leaving?" Then came the voice. Calm. Deep. Human. Broadcast on every ship in the fleet. Let them come. Just 3 words. No anger. No pride. Only certainty. The alien fleet paused. For a moment, even the admirals felt something they hadn't felt in years. Fear. The Terran ship now glowed with blue energy, rising like smoke from its hull, wrapping around its structure like armor. No known shield looked like this. It wasn't just protection. It was a warning. One alien ship locked on target and fired. A single plasma bolt shot through the void, heading straight for the human ship. It never landed. The beam stopped mid-space, froze, hung there like a light frozen in time. Then it vanished. The alien ship lost power instantly. Lights died, engines shut off. The crew screamed as gravity twisted and screens went black. It drifted, dead, not destroyed, turned off. "Retreat!" One alien captain shouted. "Hold your ground," the admiral ordered. But the fear was growing. Across the fleet, systems began to report interference. Scanners failed. Shields flickered. Some ships picked up strange audio, voices, whispers, old human music, but there were no radio signals. The Terran ship hadn't moved an inch, yet the battle had already begun. And deep inside the Terran warship, alone on the command deck, the human captain stared at the fleet in front of him. No fear in his eyes, no doubt in his mind. He remembered the old wars. He remembered the silence. And now, he had returned. Not to win, but to remind the stars who humans really were. The alien fleet was silent now. No more laughing, no more commands, only tension and fear. 800 ships still floated above the neutral zone. But their confidence was gone. One human ship had done nothing but stand in place, and already one of theirs had gone dark. The Terran ship still had not fired a single weapon. Still, it held the entire fleet in place. Inside the alien flagship, panic grew. Officers argued. Some shouted to attack again. Others whispered that they should leave. One young lieutenant dared to speak louder than the rest. "This is no ordinary ship. We should back off, now." The admiral snapped, "We have 800 ships. He has one." But in his eyes, fear was hiding. Then it happened. A second message came from the human ship. Not a voice this time. A video. It showed a recording, real footage from the last war between humans and the galaxy. One human ship, standing alone. A massive alien fleet attacking it with everything. Missiles, plasma, drones. Nothing touched it. In less than 3 minutes, the human ship erased over 60 enemy vessels. It used weapons the galaxy still couldn't explain. Some ships exploded from the inside. Others simply vanished without sound. The video ended with a single phrase, written in ancient Earth language. "We do not strike first. We end things." The alien crew watched in silence. Then the lights on their own ship dimmed. One officer gasped. "Sir, our targeting systems just turned off." Another shouted, "I didn't touch anything. Our sensors just lost all data. On the Terran ship." Across the fleet, the same thing happened. Systems began to shut down. AI units refused commands. Engines slowed, as if the Terran ship was speaking directly to the fleet's machines. But there was no radio signal. No virus. No weapon, just presence. The human ship was not attacking. It was reminding. Then, from deep space, another voice came. Old, cold, human, broadcast across all ships. "Your data is full of errors. Your leaders told you we were gone. But we are here. We never left. The war you forgot? We didn't." Some alien captains began pulling back. Others froze in place. But a few refused. They armed their weapons and prepared for a full strike. The human captain watched it all. He sat in the center of his ship, alone, calm. His hand rested on a control panel marked with symbols that hadn't been seen in centuries. He didn't press anything, he didn't need to. The Terran ship lit up again. Blue lines ran across its body like veins. Its engines burned without flame. Its armor shifted. As if alive. Inside the alien fleet, warnings flashed. Unknown field detected. Data corruption in weapon system. Navigation map. Rewritten. Then a third message appeared on every ship screen. This one. Short. 3 words. Last chance. Leave. The admiral screamed, "Fire everything!" But nothing happened. Their own weapons refused to launch. The Terran ship had already taken control. Not by force, not by hacking, but by being remembered. Because every ship in the galaxy, every system, every weapon, had once learned from humans. They copied Terran code, Terran design, Terran AI. And now, that history had returned. One by one, alien ships shut down their targeting. Engines turned away. Orders were ignored. They were not being attacked. They were being overruled. Then, in the darkest corner of space, the human captain finally spoke again. "You came here with numbers, I came with memory. And memory wins." The alien fleet was now frozen in fear. The Terran ship still hadn't moved. It had not fired a single shot, but the damage was already done. Power failures, system confusion, tactical breakdowns. The mighty fleet of 800 warships now floated like a wall of statues, nervous, unsure, and surrounded by silence. Then one captain had enough. He was young, proud, a commander of a new destroyer class. He believed in strength. He believed the Terran ship was bluffing. "This is a trick," he growled. "Humans are just good at lies." His ship, a sleek warcruiser, charged its railgun. Other commanders begged him to stand down. He ignored them. "I will break the silence," he said. His crew hesitated. He ordered them again. Then the railgun fired. A solid spike of compressed metal flew through space. Silent, fast, glowing red. It raced toward the human ship. Everyone watched. This time, the Terran ship reacted, but not with shields, not with counterfire. It simply turned its head, just slightly, as if looking at the incoming shot, and then the railgun round stopped. Not exploded, not deflected. It simply froze in the middle of space, held by nothing, not gravity, not force. Just stopped. The alien crew gasped. Then something worse happened. The spike turned. It slowly rotated in place and then flew back, but not at the ship that fired it. It hit a different alien vessel, one that hadn't even armed weapons. It tore straight through the command bridge and left a single message burned into the ship's outer hull. We do not miss. We choose. Panic exploded in the fleet. Some ships tried to retreat. Others activated full shields. But it was too late. The Terran ship's energy rose again. Blue lightning ran along its hull. And then, drones emerged. Not many, just 5. Small, silent, black. As space, they didn't fire. They watched. They hovered around the alien fleet, recording, measuring, judging. The commander who fired the shot now screamed, "We have to fight." But his ship's AI refused his commands. It had already changed sides. Inside the human ship, the captain watched quietly. He tapped one small console. All 5 drones lit up at once. Each projected a 3D image above the nearest alien bridge. The same image. A battlefield. Thousands of alien ships. Dead. Floating. One Terran ship still standing, and written across the top. Your future, if you choose wrong. Suddenly, across the fleet, more systems shut down. Ships couldn't lock on targets. Comms scrambled. Fuel reactors went cold. Weapons locked behind security layers that no one could override. Then the captain's voice came again. Low, calm, not angry, just certain. This is your only warning. We are not your enemy, but we are not your victim. You fired the first shot. His final words before cutting the signal. I will not fire again, but your ships will not fire either. We remember what happens when we let you choose twice. No ship moved. No one spoke. Even the stars around them seemed to dim. In that moment, the galaxy changed. 800 warships, held in place by one Terran captain, not by fire, not by fear, but by memory. The fleet was no longer a fleet. It was now a cage of fear. Ships didn't move. Weapons stayed cold. Crew members whispered in panic. Across all 800 warships, the only thing louder than the silence was the fear in the command rooms. Admirals tried to stay calm, tried to issue orders, but their words meant nothing anymore. Because now, every officer, every pilot, every crew member had seen the truth. One Terran ship had frozen an entire armada. Without a single shot, without a single demand, just memory, and the quiet reminder of what humans used to be. Inside the flagship of the alien fleet, the Grand Admiral stood in the center of his command deck. His face was pale. His fingers trembled. Status? He asked. No one replied. Status, he shouted louder. Finally, one officer whispered. Weapons are offline. Shields, locked by external code. Engine restart, denied by AI. The Admiral's voice broke. Who gave the override? Another officer slowly turned and said, No one here, sir. The system says it's responding to classified human protocols, embedded since the last war. That was the moment the Admiral realized the truth. The humans never left their war behind. They had built their code into the bones of every empire that followed. Every ship, every AI, every blueprint copied from Terran wreckage. It all remembered. Suddenly, the lights on the bridge flickered. A strange hum filled the room. One of the screens turned on by itself. A face appeared, but not human. An old alien commander, one who had fought in the last war against Earth, long thought dead. The recording began. If you are hearing this, then the humans have returned. I warned you, we all did, but you didn't listen. You built your future on their remains, and now those remains are waking up. The Grand Admiral stepped back. Turn it off. But the screen refused. The message played on. You believed they were gone, but humans do not disappear. They adapt, they wait, and when they rise again, they do not ask. They remind. The message ended, but fear remained. On the other side of the fleet, inside a younger captain's command room, things were even worse. His crew refused to follow orders. They had seen too much. They had felt something, in their minds when the Terran ship activated. Strange visions, forgotten battles, human voices whispering across time. What if we're on the wrong side? One officer asked. The captain snapped, Are you a traitor? The officer answered, No, I just don't want to be a fool. In ship after ship, the same argument unfolded. Fight or retreat? But neither side made a move, because no one knew what would happen next. And then came the second wave of fear. Every ship began receiving signals, but not from the Terran ship, from their own systems. Old files, buried deep in system archives, began to open, files with human symbols, files marked Do Not Access, but now they were being accessed without permission. Every screen across the fleet showed the same phrase. You trained your machines on our ruins, you copied our designs, and you thought we would not return. The Grand Admiral fell into his chair. Realized this was no longer a battle. This was a lesson, a final reminder from the species the galaxy tried to erase. And now, they would have to choose. Stay and burn, or leave and remember. The alien fleet was quiet, but not calm. Every ship floated like it was waiting for a final answer. The Terran ship had done nothing more than stand its ground, speak a few words, and unlock memories buried in the metal bones of the galaxy. But that was enough. Systems were frozen, crew morale broken. And now deep inside the Terran vessel, the captain prepared to speak again, not to threaten, not to attack, but to remind. A single voice echoed across all 800 ships, calm, firm, human. I know what you're feeling. You were told we were gone, you were told we were weak, but they didn't tell you the truth. On every bridge, alien officers leaned closer to their screens. Some trembled, others watched in silence. We left this part of the galaxy not because we were defeated, but because we saw what was coming. You learned from our wreckage. You built your fleets from our bones, and now, your machines remember us better than you do. The captain paused. Then he said something no one expected. I didn't come here to destroy you, I came to give you a choice. A long silence followed. Then the screens changed again. Each ship saw a simulation, projected into their AI systems. The visual showed two paths. Path 1. The alien fleet opened fire on the Terran ship. The result? Instant failure. The Terran ship released a single pulse. Over 800 ships vanished, not destroyed, erased. Path 2. The alien fleet left. The Terran ship powered down. The stars returned to silence. No pursuit. No war. Then the voice continued. I only fire if you force me to. I only kill if you forget who we are. You don't fear me because I'm strong. You fear me because you know I've already decided. Inside the fleet, reactions were mixed. Some commanders wanted to test him, but many others remembered the old stories. They remembered what it took to win one battle against humans during the last war. Thousands of ships and whole star systems lost. They remembered what human captains were. Not conquerors, not monsters, reminders. Suddenly, one alien battleship turned. No order, no signal. It simply rotated away from the human ship and powered down its weapons. Then another, then a third. Soon, dozens of ships began to back away. No one gave the command. They simply understood. Inside the Terran ship, the captain sat still, his hands folded. He didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. Because this was not a victory. It was a warning accepted. On the alien flagship, the Grand Admiral finally stood and said softly, "Send the retreat code." One officer asked, "What do we tell the homeworld?" The Admiral replied, "Tell them. We met the past, and the past remembers." As the fleet began to move away, one final message appeared on their screens. A message from the Terran captain. "This isn't the beginning of war. This is the end of forgetting. Go home. And don't come back unless you bring peace." The legend had been born. A single Terran captain. One ship, 800 warships turned away. Not because of power, but because he never needed to prove it. One by one, the warships began to turn. It started with a few, then a few more, and then hundreds of ships, armed with the galaxy's most advanced weapons, slowly began to back away. From just one human ship. Inside every command room, officers watched the screen showing the Terran vessel, still floating quietly, still glowing with cold blue light, still unmoving. They expected an attack. They expected judgment. But none came. The human ship simply stayed there, watching, waiting. It was not here to destroy. It was here to remind. Inside the alien flagship, the Grand Admiral stood quietly. He had lived through many wars, seen thousands of ships burn, but this moment was different. He whispered, "We were fools." Another captain spoke through the comms. "He gave us a chance. We should take it." But not everyone agreed. One warlord, known for crushing colonies without mercy, refused to turn his ship. His ego burned hotter than fear. "Cowards," he growled into the fleet channel. "You fear a ghost. I will finish this." He aimed every weapon on the Terran ship and charged his core reactor. The fleet begged him to stop. He didn't listen. His ship launched a high-velocity missile, one that could pierce the crust of a planet. It streaked toward the Terran ship with deadly speed. But then, something happened. The stars blinked. For 1 second, across every scanner, every sensor, every visual feed, the Terran ship vanished. The missile missed, because there was nothing there. The warlord's crew gasped. Then a single signal returned. A single image. The Terran ship was no longer in front of him. It was behind him. Right behind. No jump signal. No engine trail. It had just moved. Without being seen, and now it hovered just meters away. Dead quiet. Then something even worse happened. His weapons refused to fire. Not jammed, not broken. Just obedient to something else. On every screen in his ship, a new message appeared. "We gave you mercy. You returned with pride. Now learn what happens to pride." No explosion followed, no attack, just a quiet pulse of energy from the Terran ship. His ship powered down completely, not damaged, but erased from control. The crew sat in darkness. Systems cold, lights dead, no escape, no command, a floating shell. And then the Terran ship moved away, slowly, without a sound, back to its place, back to silence. The rest of the fleet got the message. This wasn't just a test, it was a lesson. Mercy is given once, and then it's over. Now nearly all 800 ships turned and left the zone. No one dared speak loudly. No one dared look back. In the command rooms, officers breathed again. Some cried. Others sat still, shaken. They would survive. But they would never forget. And, as they moved far enough from the Terran ship, one final broadcast reached them. "We did not return to rule. We returned to be remembered. The path is clear. Walk it or burn it." That was the last signal. The Terran ship dimmed. It did not follow. It simply waited. The walk away had begun. But the fear would never leave. The warships had left, all 800 of them. But the silence they left behind was louder than war. The human ship floated alone in neutral space. No weapons fired, no chases, no explosions. Only the stars watched now. Inside the command bridge, the Terran captain sat quietly. He didn't celebrate. He didn't smile. This wasn't a victory. It was a message. Across the galaxy, the retreat caused a shockwave. The Council demanded answers. The admirals gave only one. We stood against one Terran ship, and we stood down. The Council didn't believe it. Until they saw the recordings. Until they saw the missile freeze mid-space. Until they saw the ship vanish and reappear behind its enemy without leaving a trace. Then, even they grew silent. One senator whispered, "How did they do this?" The answer came from an old historian. "Because we learned from their machines. We built our fleets on their tech. We copied their AI. And now all of it still listens to them." The chamber fell silent. Then someone asked, "What do we do?" The answer came from the Grand Admiral himself. "We remember." Across alien worlds, rumors spread faster than light. A lone human captain, a dead ship that moved like a shadow, a fleet of 800 who turned away. Children were told bedtime stories of the black ship that never fired. Statues were built, some shaped like the Terran vessel, others as shields, with the words, "We did not win. We were warned." Some called the captain a myth. Some said he was AI, not real. Others believed he was the last of Earth's defenders, sent to make sure the galaxy remembered what it once feared. No one knew for sure, but none forgot. Back in space, the Terran ship remained still. Then, without sound or signal, it turned. Its engines glowed blue for the first time. But instead of chasing the retreating fleet, it flew the other way, deeper into the void, far beyond mapped stars, vanishing once more. Not because it was weak, not because it was afraid, but because its job was done. And just before the Terran ship crossed the edge of known space, it sent out one final message, not to the Council, not to the fleet, but to the galaxy. Simple, final, human. You wanted to forget us, but we never forgot you. We watched, we waited, and now you remember. That's enough. The story was over, but the fear remained, and so did the respect. No one would ever face Earth the same way again, because even in silence, humanity had spoken louder than any fleet ever could.